It's 104 degrees today. Hi everybody, it's Andy and welcome again to my office in Modesto, California. On what's turned out to be a surprisingly hot Saturday afternoon. The thermometer on the wall over there says it's 104 degrees, actually 103 now. But as you know, it's surprisingly hot for a Saturday afternoon in May. If you listen in the background, you can actually probably hear the landscapers next door. The building next door is actually having some work done, it sounds like. So kudos to those guys for working on a Saturday afternoon where I would surely imagine it's not very comfortable to be doing it. I am an attorney licensed to practice law in California as well as New York. In this video I'm going to go over, not sure if you call it a myth really, or a rumor, mistake, whatever you want to call it. It's basically about how divorces in California get done. I first started hearing this rumor, I guess, probably in 2009, 2010 kind of time frame. And you know, it went strong, I guess, for a couple months, and then from my perspective at least, it died out. I really didn't hear about it for a really long time. But then in the last 6 months or so, it really started to come back with a vengeance, I think. I hear about it all the time now. And I can kind of understand the reason why, and the perception, like why people would like to believe it, I think. But this is the basic idea. So let's say that you and your spouse are living in California, and you know you live in the same apartment or house or condo, whatever it is, and then for whatever reason the relationship breaks down. Let's say that both people decide that the marriage isn't working, or maybe one person wants to doesn't want to be married anymore, or something like that. And for whatever reason, the two of you, the two parts of the couple, then basically stop living together. Maybe one person moves out, moves in with somebody else. And then after a period of time, maybe this other person moves in with somebody else also. So that kind of status quo, or steady state rather, probably, situation basically where each part of the couple is now living with like a new romantic partner, and they're both parts are happy. In that case, a lot of times people will think, for some reason, which I still don't quite understand, some people will think that if you live in a situation like that away from your spouse for a certain amount of time, California will automatically grant you a divorce, or a divorce will automatically happen. I have heard different versions of this, and as you can probably imagine, every rumor will vary a little bit depending on who you get it from. I have heard 2 years, I've heard 5 also. I've heard 10. 10 sounds a little long. I mean, even if this rumor was not actually a rumor, even if it was true. 10 seems a little bit long just in general. But the basic idea, though, that I've always heard is somewhere in between 2 and 5 years, if you live apart from your spouse, like for this magical period, California will automatically grant you a divorce. So, as you can probably guess from the way that I phrased it, this rumor, the fact that, the rumor, the allegation that you can live apart from your spouse for a certain amount of time and get a divorce automatically in California is completely not true. It is categorically, without a doubt, not true. So in California, the way the laws work here is that if you want to get divorced, regardless of the kind of case that you have, for example, you and your spouse have children, you and your spouse don't have children, you have a lot of debt, or you and your spouse rather, have a lot of debt, you have no debt, you guys agree on everything, you guys agree on nothing, etc. Regardless of the factual kind of situation, you have to go to court, file a case, serve papers, probably go in front of a judge at least once in order to get divorced. There is no such thing in California as getting a divorce automatically. The way that I guess the way that you prove that you're divorced, I guess is probably the best way to put it. As you can probably guess, once you get divorced, you will need to have papers to prove that for things like tax reasons, insurance reasons. If you want to get married again and you want to apply for a marriage license, they will ask you how your prior marriages were terminated, and you will need to get divorce judgment forms to prove that this prior marriage over here was terminated properly before you hop into this new marriage. So for all of those kind of proof situations, you will need a form called the Judicial Council Form FL 180. I have a video on how to actually get that form. I'm going to post it right over here. So go ahead and take a look at that if you haven't seen it already. It's quite fun. So based on that though, like, you will get a FL180 that has a judge's signature on it. This form over here that I'm linking to basically is just the blank one. But as part of the court case that you have to file, you fill out all these forms, you fill out financial forms, you submit the judgment form, the Form 180 that I just described. You submit all of that to the judge, and then if that's, if you fulfill all the criteria and like you've done all the things that you're supposed to, according to this big checklist, then you will get a signed FL180 back, and that is how finally you will prove that you are divorced. So once you get the form, if you don't, rather, I guess, if you don't get the Form 180, you are not divorced. Like the Form 180 is how you prove that you are divorced as of a certain date. And the Form 180 will have a date stamped on it saying you are single as of May 1st, June 1st, August 18th, whatever. So if you don't, obviously if you don't go through the court process and you don't get the Form 180, you are still married. So that is why the automatic divorce after living apart for a certain amount of time, why that doesn't actually work in California. So there are a variety of consequences, I guess, or unintended consequences rather, problems, I guess, that will arise if you do not terminate your prior marriage properly before hopping into a new one. I have a separate video which I'm going to put out relatively soon, I think. This one's on my calendar for editing and post-production, all that stuff. About what happens if you don't get divorced properly. There are a lot of things that will happen. A lot of them are related to estate planning, tax liability, things like that. So hopefully that will be out relatively quickly, and this video here has whetted your appetite for it. So once it actually is out, I'll go ahead and link to it right over here. So if you see a bubble kind of pop up right here, that means the video is actually out. But until then, hopefully this video made sense. Go ahead and watch it again if you want to, but the basic idea is that automatic divorce in California does not work. There is no such thing. You have to go to court, you have to get a Form FL180 signed in order to prove that the divorce is actually done. So anyway, with that said, I will talk to you guys next time, and good luck until then. Bye.